Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another feature match commentary on the channel today. So this is going to be round 4 for the 10th edition of my online Discord tournament, and this one is going to be between 1972 on Sky Striker versus Benji on Infernoid. If you guys are interested in checking out Benji's channel on YouTube, aka Legacy Crusaders, I will be leaving a link to that in the description box below so you guys can go ahead and subscribe to him. And also, if you guys do want to play in the next tournament or find out any of the accompanying information, I will be having a link to the Discord server as usual in the description box as well. So go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested. But let's not waste any more time and get started with this matchup here without any further ado. So it looks like the Sky Striker player did take the RPS win, and they're going to actually be choosing to go first. We do see some Striker players opting to blind second, but this player opting to go first here. So their opening hand going first is going to be Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones, Afterburners, Rhoda, Drone Lockbird, and Droplet. So I think this hand for going first is pretty decent. It's not really anything too crazy, but a way to get to Ray is decent, as well as some non-engine defensive cards. And then going second, the opening hand for Infernoids is going to be Double Void Vanishment, Twin Twister, Effect Veiler, and Decatron. So the Vanishment is super good going second and going first as well, getting access to either Feast or Imagination. Imagination being a really strong power card, and Striker probably not going to play around it too much, especially in game 1 here. But yeah, this is a pretty good hand for Infernoid as well, I would say, especially with the Twin Twister main decked. For this matchup at least. But we are going to see the Striker player begin things off with a Rhoda. That's going to grab a copy of Ray from deck to hand, and then follow that up with the normal summon of Ray, and then going to proceed to go to end phase and activate the effect. So playing around the effect failure there pretty successfully, so that's going to tag out into a copy of Shizuku. And then Shizuku's effect is going to activate. That's going to go and search from deck to hand a copy of Engage for next turn, and it's going to pass. So kind of relying on the back of Joel, because they didn't set Droplet here, but it's probably going to be good enough. Droplet could be good against like a Decatron, or if Imagination ends up hitting the board against the incoming Tierra, but overall I don't think it's too bad as long as you don't get OTK'd right off the bat. But we're going to see Deviati drawn for turn, so not one of the ones you really want to see normally, but it's not the worst either. It's at least decent pitch fodder for this copy of Vanishment. So we're going to see the normal summon of Decatron. That's going to activate to send another copy of Deviati. So that's going to go and play around some hand traps, potentially like an Ash. So that's pretty good because it negates monster effects now. So now going to go for the Vanishment. That's going to pitch the other copy of Vanishment and then search for a copy of, I think that was a misclick. Yeah, Imagination. Imagine Vanishment searching Mystic Mine. But yeah, because most lists only play 2 Deviati, you have to keep the other one in hand if you want to go Infusion Summon the copy of Tierra, since it does require specifically Deviati and Anunku. So if there's only 2 copies and you want to send one to play around hand traps with the Decatron, you have to keep the other in hand. But the second copy of Vanishment was most likely going to be dead this game anyways, so not really that big of a deal. Going to drop Drill and Resolution here from the Striker player, and then followed up with a copy of Imagination from the Infernoid player. So going to send it, and a whole bunch of Noids, so that was, I believe, 7 of them. So going to send a whole bunch and then summon out Tierra. And then Tierra's effect is going to activate, so it's going to send 3 from the extra deck to the graveyard, the OG Dogmatica card, and then going to go and mill 3 cards from both players' decks as well. So hitting not really too many impactful cards on the side of Infernoid. Hits a Rose, which could come up, and then just more spells to fuel Engage next turn, which actually is pretty decent for them as well. But going to trigger both effects of Ventus. That's going to both target Shizuku. And then Ray affecting Graveyard is going to be negated, looks like, by the Decatron. So that's going to negate and banish the Ray as well. And then Battle Phase, Decatron's going to attack for 500 and then going to pass. So we are going to see the top deck to multi-roll for turn from the side of Striker. They chose to keep the Twin Twister in hand instead of setting it. So maybe they plan on using the Veiler at some point. So they want to hold Twin Twister for their own turn, which is fair enough for sure. But yeah, they're going to start things off with an Afterburner. That's going to destroy the Decatron and then pop the Banishment as well. So yeah, no sneaky effects of Vanishment here, because this also has another effect that most people forget about, where if an Inferno monster you control battles an opponent's monster after damage calculation, you can send this card to the graveyard to banish both. So that definitely can come up in certain cases where you need like just non-targeting removal. So yeah, getting this off the board definitely matters. But we are going to see the multi-roll come down next. They actually use multi-roll after the Afterburner. Maybe that they just kind of forgot about it, but going to go for the Engage next. That's going to search for a copy of Shark Cannon and then draw into another Shark Cannon, which definitely is nice because the grave is very much loaded with Infernoids right now. So getting them out of the graveyard is going to be pretty beneficial. Hornet Drone is going to be the next activation, so it's going to summon a token, and then followed it up with a copy of Kagari. And then Kagari effect's going to target the engage. It's going to be negated by Veiler. Pretty predictable there. And then going to go for Hayate. There is no Ray engraved, so probably want to send it here. Going to attack for 1500 in the battle phase, and then use the effect of Hayate. That's going to send from deck to graveyard a copy of Ray. And then in main phase 2, going to go ahead and activate Shark Cannon. That's going to go and banish Deviati. And then going to link off into Shizuku. Set 2, and go to end phase where Shizuku is going to activate. And then that's going to search for a copy of Area 0. And then multi-roll can trigger here, so that's going to reset the Widow Anchor and the Shark Cannon, since Shark and Hornet Drones and Engage were all activated. So that could set up 3 here theoretically. But I'm going to choose set 2 since there's only space for 2. And get a pass on this. So they might want to shotgun the other Shark Cannon, or they have 2 Shark Cannons set. So they might want to shotgun 1 on Deviati just so that their board doesn't get wiped here. Granted, they do have a Widow Anchor to help negate that, so maybe they just kind of hold off on that for now. But yeah, the grave is pretty stacked with Noids, so it's going to be a lot of follow-up here. They're going to draw another copy of Decatron for turn, so that's definitely not too bad. So going to go to main phase 1, going to banish 3 for the Deviati, and then going to use the effect to Heavy Storm the field, but that's going to be negated by the Widow Anchor. And chooses not to take it, so yeah, that is pretty good in the case where they don't have Decatron, because now you can't summon more Infernoids because the levels and ranks of the effect monsters on his field right now is above 8, so that is pretty good. But, of course, Decatron kind of helps mitigate that, so that's going to be the normal summon here. And then that is going to send from deck to grave a copy of Anunku. So this is going to kind of help play around the back row as well, which is not too bad. Maybe they go Deviati attack and then they get Ray again, which is pretty decent. Oh, wait, no, the Deviati is negated by Widow Anchor, so maybe they just link this off and then try and summon more Noids, which is fair. That's a pretty common kind of play to reduce the levels on your field. Yeah, gonna link off for Hita, the Fire Charmer Ablaze, and there is a properly summoned Kagari there. So Shark Cannon's gonna be the play next, and that's going to banish the Deviati, so gain that out of grave. Maybe it was worth using the Shark Cannon earlier if the plan was to get rid of the Deviati regardless. Also, if you guys can hear the lawn mowing in the background, I apologize, because apparently my neighbor just decided to start mowing their lawn. Unfortunate, but we're going to keep going here. Going to go ahead and activate the Hita here. That's going to bring back the Kagari. And Kagari is going to just summon that back. And then followed it up with the summon of a Tondal. So just pushing for a lot of damage here. A Tondal's effect is going to activate. That's going to DD Crow the Ray out of Graveyard. And then they're going to link summon into a copy of Celine, the Master Magicians. And there is an effect Veiler engraved, so that can easily summon back the Veiler, and there's way more than enough spells to make this at 3 counters. And then we're going to summon another Infernoid, going to pick Anunku this time. Not going to pop the board, and then going to go ahead and link off into a copy of Access Code. And the Access Code effect is going to activate, and it looks like on resolution, they're going to use the Shark Cannon to go ahead and banish Saitsumas, and then they're going to chain the Droplet. That's going to negate both the Anunku and the Access Code. So they send away their own Shizuku, which I guess is fair because it was going to be destroyed anyways. They could have also gotten rid of the area in their hand, I guess, if they wanted to keep the Striker Link on board, which probably was worth it. Then again, they might be banking on this multi-roll, just resetting the Hornet Drones for next turn. But yeah, both monsters are going to be halved and negated. And then Battle Phase is going to attack for some damage here. It's going to be 15 plus whatever half of 5,300 is. Yeah, Axis is 2650 because it halves first and then it negates. It freezes the attack value. Came up a lot versus Zodiac monsters, but I'm going to go for the Nightmare Phoenix next. And then Phoenix is going to go and pitch the multi-roll. So yeah, no multi-roll follow-up, which is pretty big. So yeah, now they're just left on Area 0. And let's see how many Infernoids are left in grave. There's actually not too many. So both decks are kind of pretty low in resources. So it'll be interesting to see which one comes out on top here. There's 2 Rays banished as well, which is pretty notable. Gonna go to end phase here, and then we're gonna draw for turn a copy of Foolish Burial Goods. That's going to go and dump a copy of Metal Force Fusion, and then Fusion going to recycle itself to draw into a Droplet. So that's just going to be fodder for this copy of Area 0 here, which not even actually going to banish all three. It's going to pick up the raise straight away. Fair enough. Looks like they are in voice chat now, so going to be commentating without any of their chat in mind. But going to go for Kagari next. Kagari effect, going to add back this copy of Engage, and then Engage, going to search for Hercules base. So this is pretty good here. Even though they don't multi-roll up live right now, they do have Area 0 to kind of send this away on future turns. So that's not too bad. And then it looks like we're going to see the Hercules base being activated to allow the Kagari to beat over the Phoenix and then draw 1 in the process. So that's going to go and draw into a copy of Rose. And then they're just going to pass. For turn, we're going to see a top deck of Terraforming here. And we actually saw Mystic Mine in the deck earlier, so that is probably going to be the search. And Mystic Mine is going to hit the board. So that is pretty nice when you're on top deck mode with a very minimal graveyard if you're playing Infernoid. So this is going to stall out the game for quite some time. Now, Striker can easily out this because Area 0 target Kagari at any point can just make the Mind self-destruct, and there is Rose in hand. So they're not going to be out of monsters. Plus, Hercules base can recycle stuff if they choose to play the long game, which I imagine they will here since the opponent is on 0 cards besides the Mine. So Area going to target the Hercules base. That's going to whiff. So they're going to pass. They're going to draw Mystic Mine and pass. Going to draw Eagle Booster and then go and Area 0 target the Herc base again. That's going to hit the area. So that's going to allow the Herc base to go to grave and get its effect. So they're going to recycle a Kagari and 2 Shizuku. Maybe it was worth to go and recycle back multi-roll, perhaps. That might have been worth it. If they don't plan on using Kagari anytime soon, add it back. But regardless, we are going to see them set Eagle Booster and then pass. We're going to see a top deck Droplet, just a lot of dead cards. Area 0 going to go and target Kagari. That's going to whiff, it looks like. So they're also playing Mystic Mine themselves. And then just going to pass. We're going to see a top deck Ash Blossom. Pass. Going to draw a Droll. Area effect, gonna whiff. Jeez, this is a lot of whiffs off the area, but they are pretty low on cards for striker stuff because they have a couple of Widow Anchors left, so I'm kind of surprised they're not hitting that at all. They have 2 Widow Anchor left. We see 2 Shark Cannon in rotation. Most of them only play 2, but there could technically be a 3rd one. But yeah, not seeing really anything. Gonna draw a Jekatron, the 3rd one I believe that is, which is definitely not too bad, although I'm not sure what the targets are left for Noids. Both players have 15 cards left in deck, so not too much to work with. Gonna go for Decatron here, that's gonna get Veilered, and then they're gonna chain Droplet in response so that the Decatron resolves. So that's gonna mill a copy of Vitullo. So this does get 2 extra names engraved, so Nunku can actually hit the board, or a Tondo either of them works. But just gonna pass instead of mine. Oh, but the top deck Cosmic, which we did see revealed off area several times, so there's the out. Get out the Mystic Mine here. And Normal Summon Rose is not game just yet. Let's see. They could go for a Needle Fiber play, but that's going to get Ash Blossomed. So probably not going to be game here. Going to go for Hayate first, and then going to be thinking, it looks like. Going to Terraforming for Mystic Mine. And then going to link off a copy of Kagari. Kagari effect is going to add back Shark Cannon. They're going to Shark Cannon back the copy of Celine. And they can just go Access Code and then Normal Summon Rose, and that's game. Yeah, so going to go Access Code and then go to Battle Phase. Oh, I think they forgot they didn't Normal Summon yet. Yeah, Normal Summon Rose here was game with the Access Code. So that would have been, lethal, but gonna pass in this. Top deck Imagination, but they already went through all their Noids, so that actually isn't that good. I'm just so used to seeing like Imagination and being like, oh, that's crazy, but not gonna really do too much here. But Mystic Mine will be decent to stall a little bit more. Although again, Noid's kind of out of resources. They could have Nunku here, which is not too bad. There is Eagle Booster though for this Access Code. Looks like we're gonna banish 3, gonna summon out a Nunku. And then activate the effect, going to chain Eagle Booster, but going to chain an Nunku to negate the Eagle Booster. So that's going to pop the Access Code. They're going to set Ash, and then activate Mystic Mine, and then pass. Interesting that they chose to do it this way. I guess they're just not confident in only setting Ash, so they want to like have Mystic Mine here as well as Insurance, but if they have any way to get to it back into a Striker Link, it's going to be game regardless. There's no more Hayate left, though. So that's pretty interesting. So it looks like we're going to normal summon Rose. There's one more Kagari left. There's the Shizuku's left as well. They could go Kagari to add back. Oh, wait, I thought they do have a Shark Cannon in here, so they could like Kagari add back Shark Cannon, and then Shark Cannon bring back something, and then just attack for game. So gonna link off, and oh, it looks like we're gonna see the Infernoid player admit defeat. So that's gonna be the end of game 1, and it's gonna go to Striker. Very, very long, grindy back and forth. The Striker player actually managed to grind past the Imagination, which is not really something you see too much, because usually when Imagination resolves, that is the end of the game, functionally, just because of how far Noids can get from that point. But yeah, really, really good stuff from both players. Also outlasting the Mystic Mine, which is pretty good. But gonna go into game 2. Actually, now that I think about it, if they had Shark Cannon and had 2 monsters, they would have been an attack with Mine. So I kind of wonder why he scooped the way he did. I'm thinking about that a little bit more. Maybe he thought there was Hayate left in the extra deck, but there wasn't. I'm kind of curious as to why he chose to scoop when he did. But we're going to move on to game 2 now, because that was quite a lengthy game 1. So the opening hand for Striker going first again in game 2, since the Noids are choosing to go second here, is going to be Foolish Burial Goods, Ash Blossom, DD Crow, another Foolish Goods, and Droplet. So this is one of those Striker hands right here. Not that great, but we'll see what the Metaphors Fusion draws. And then we're going to see the opening hand for Infernoid be Harpy's Feather Duster, Skullmeister, Mystic Mine, Deviati, and Ash Blossom. So lots of hand traps here. Not really anything too crazy for the Noid player either. So both players kind of breaking this time, in contrast to the last game where both players opened up pretty well. Gonna go for Foolish Goods here. That's gonna send Metaphors Fusion, and then the effect is gonna shuffle itself back to draw into a Cosmic. So that's not really gonna do too much. They're gonna set 2 and pass. They draw Imagination, which would be good if the Striker player didn't brick here. So they're just gonna pass here. Not really gonna commit anything to the board. They are top deck multi-roll, which isn't horrible. They're gonna go for Foolish Goods again. And then they're gonna send Metaphors Fusion. I guess they just kind of skipped that step, but we see they didn't draw it. So they're gonna send Fusion, shuffle it back, draw 1. Again, they're in voice chats, so they're kind of just letting this go through. But they draw into Ray here, which is pretty good. They're gonna normal summon her and then go into battle phase, attack for 15, and then tag out into a copy of Hayate. And then Hayate effect is gonna attack, and then the effect is gonna send a copy of Area. I like not sending Engage because like if you don't have 3 spells in grade, you might as well just send what you were going to add off Engage anyway, and then save the Engage to be searched off Shizuku. So I like that quite a bit. Gonna go for Kagari, and then Kagari effect to add back the Area. You have 3 Kagari anyway, so it's like not that big of a deal. Gonna go for Shizuku, and then gonna go end phase, add Engage. So pretty good. Kind of surprised they added Area instead of like maybe a Widow Anchor or Shark Cannon for some defense. Maybe they feel safe under, say, Cosmic, Droplet, and 2 hand traps, which is fair enough. But gonna pass from here. We're gonna see a top deck to Petrulia. So now they can just like Feather Duster and then Imagination, which isn't too bad. Gonna go for Feather Duster here. That's going to wipe the board. And then they're gonna activate Mystic Mime. This plays around actually Ash on the Imagination. So that's pretty heads up. Gonna go ahead and activate the Imagination here. That's gonna go and send a whole bunch of Noids to the graveyard to summon out Tierra yet again. And then Tierra effect is gonna activate. You could Ash this if you really wanted to, but they're gonna choose not to. Gonna go and send double Ensis and Tierra again, and then we're gonna see different sends this time around from Striker. Gonna send Kaina, Halka and the Zeke, and then both players gonna mill 3. So getting rid of the Herc base could interfere with the grind, because we did see that actually mattered last game. And then they're gonna mill Imagination, Feast, and Twin Twister. Next, both the Entices are going to activate, so one of them is gonna pop his own mine, and then the other one's going to target Shizuku to destroy it. And then the Ray is going to get Skullmeister here. So that's pretty solid for cutting off that engine, at least for the time being. Going to normal summon the Ash Blossom, and then go into the Halka. And then the effect is going to activate. They're going to train Ash Blossom to negate that. And then they're also going to DD Crow to hit the Anunku out of Graveyard, since now the levels are off the board, so you kind of have to hit the Noids. Gonna go ahead and summon out Petrulia from the hand. That's gonna banish the Tierra. And then gonna go into a copy of Hita. And then Hita is gonna summon back the Ash. And then they're gonna banish 2 to summon out a Tondal. and then they're going to link off into Doolittle Chimera, and then they're going to banish 2 more for a Tondel. They're just going for a game here, it looks like. Going to go for Sightsumus, so this is 28, 26 is 54, plus 14 is 68, plus 1850 is over game already, plus this is boosting all the fire, so it's an extra 2k attack. So this is like well over 10k damage on board. So going to go to battle phase and just clean this one up. So game 2 is going to go to Infernoids. So we will see a game 3 here between these two decks. Both players tied 1-1, and now it's time for game 3, where it looks like Striker is going to choose to go first. So Striker actually going first all 3 games here. And if you guys do enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more. And also, if you're interested in supporting the Patreon, definitely go ahead and check that out if you want to support the channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description box as usual. But the opening hand for Striker in game 3 going first again is going to be Terraforming, Forbidden Droplet, Widow Anchor, Area 0, and There Can Be Only One. So definitely not a bad hand. It's not a great one because there's no Ray Access at the moment, but having There Can Be Only One is pretty decent as just kind of a good go first floodgate. And then the opening hand for the Infernoid player going second is going to be Double Twin Twister, Ghost Bell, Mystic Mine, and Petrulia. So again, the Noid player not opening up super well, but if they do draw into Imagination or Banishment, that could definitely help fix things. So not a bad chance of that happening. So we will see the Striker player kick things out with the Area 0. That's going to target the set Widow Anchor. And then they're going to go ahead and reveal 3. It's going to be another Widow Anchor. Interesting that they chose to actually not set the Terraforming for that. Maybe they want to keep Mystic Mind if they absolutely have to. But they're just going to go and set the Widow Anchor and set There Can Be and pass. Going to be another Petrulia drawn for turn, so definitely not the greatest. They can get into Graveyard via Twin Twister and then like summon Petrulia, but like that's not amazing. But they're just going to pass here. Not really any reason to commit into the board because the Striker player also can't really apply pressure right now. So we're going to see another There Can Be Only One for drawn for turn for the Striker player. They're going to set Terraforming and then target it with the Area. That's going to go and search for a copy of Rose. Well, not search, but excavate and then add to hand the Rose. And then they're going to normal summon Rose and then go battle phase and attack for 15 and then pass. So not committing into any of the Striker extra deck monsters to play around Imagination because they did actually see Imagination twice, and it has been pretty impactful for sure when it resolves. And since there's no Cosmic set, I guess they really just don't want that coming out. So they're just trying to play around it. We're going to see a top deck Triple Tactics talent for turn, so that's going to be decent if there are hand traps, but there are none here. Going to go and pitch Petrulia off this Twin Twisters. It's going to hit the set cards, which are pretty impactful for sure. And then Petrulia is going to be summoned by banishing Petrulia from Grave. And we can just beat over Rose here. So that's pretty funny that this ended up working out that way. There is no Imagination in this hand, so unfortunate that he's trying to play around it, but it's just not really happening. Gonna draw another copy of Droplet, so it really is up to this Area to get things done. And it actually whiffs, so that is definitely not good. They're gonna just set 2 and then pass. We're gonna see Void Feast drawn for turn. Needs another Void card, obviously, but could be very, very impactful later. So just so many bombs. A Petrulia effect is going to target the set There Can Be Only One, and then they're going to chain Forbidden Droplet to negate that. They're going to attempt to activate Area, but actually it has to be sent to the grave via card effect, and Droplet sends for cost, so that doesn't actually work there. So I'm just going to pass on this since Petrulia cannot attack the turn it pops the back row. Going to draw a Shark Cannon for turn. That's actually dead right now completely, so just going to go and set 2 more and then pass. And by getting rid of their own Area, that kind of locked them out of any chance of hitting a Striker monster to play again. So unfortunate that they misplayed with the Area, because I'm thinking that it would get a monster from deck would have made all the difference. But now there's Ash Blossom, so that is definitely very, very good. Gonna go ahead and Petrulia pop the Shark Cannon and then Twin Twister, pitch Mystic Mine. That's gonna hit the other 2, and then they're gonna chain Droplet. Just because it has to be okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be face up from your field, but yeah, not really going to make a difference anyway. Going to pass on this because, again, this can't attack. Even though it was already negated, but this was after the fact, so it doesn't turn off that. Condition. But Engage going to be a nice top deck, if not for the Ash in hand. So, yeah, imagine, though, drawing Engage at this particular point in the game. Yeah, Engage, going to be Ash, and then going to pass. We're going to see a top deck Ghost Spell. Really just not drawing any Decatrons, any, Void cards to enable Feast. which is making this game extremely slow. But Vitullo beatdown, gonna be putting in work here. So gonna swing for 18 and then pass. They're gonna draw Effect Failure. Really just not anything. Gonna pass again, and they're gonna top deck the Void Feast, which is needed for this other Void Feast to trigger. So yeah, once he sees that, that's just gonna be the end of the match. So Infernoid's gonna be taking this one 2-1 over Sky Striker. A lot of really grindy games, lots of back and forth. You know, both players didn't really open that well in game number 3, but those can make for some of the more entertaining games just in general when both players kind of open bricky. But yeah, we saw a pretty good grind. Game 1, past the Imagination, past the Mystic Mind, and then game 2, we saw a very nice OTK from Infernoid, going from Imagination straight into an OTK. Using Mystic Mind to help play around the hand trap on the Imagination was a pretty game-winning play, actually. And then Entis to pop your own mind as well to just kind of help assemble lethal. And that was through like Ash and DD Crow as well, even beyond the Harpy's Feather Duster. And then game 3, you kind of just saw Vitullo beatdown was pretty effective right there. But that's going to be it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comments. Subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on all social media platforms or support me with links in the description as usual. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.